following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
This is the Players Lounge, broadcasting live from Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star. Now your hosts, Barry Church, Danny McCray, and Newy Scruggs.
Has a victory Monday felt so hollow? Is a first place win felt so hollow? It does today. Hi, everybody. I'm Newy Scruggs. Welcome to the Players Lounge, brought to you by Hotels.com. I'm a longtime Cowboys reporter, joined by two former Dallas Cowboys players, Danny McCray and Barry Church. Dak Prescott is out for the year. He's supposed to get out of the hospital today. Scott Agolnik, PR maven with the team, sent out a press release today saying that the surgery was successful and they expect Dak to be released today. All right, gentlemen, let me just take your thoughts on what you felt when you saw Dak Prescott down on the turf at Jerry World. McCray.
Man, it was tough, man. It was heartbreaking just because, I know how people around the organization feel about Dak, really people around the world. And he's an ultimate leader. He's an ultimate, the right type of guy, the guy that people look up to that does everything right. So just to see something go so wrong for him was very tough. But, listening to everybody, reach out to him and show how much confidence they have in him and believe that he'll come back even better than before, was kind of the silver lining in that one. But I feel terrible for him, man, because he was on track to do something special, and then the contract year and all that stuff is in there. So it's a lot going into it. I know he has a lot going on through his mind, but praying for him and hope for a speedy recovery and come back better than ever.
Yeah, man. I mean, you hate to see something like this happen, especially to a guy like Dak Prescott. I mean, on the field, he was a captain. He's the leader of this team. I mean, he's the unquestioned leader and franchise leader of this team. And not only that, you hate to see it happen to the guy off the field. I mean, we had the pleasure of meeting this guy and knowing him and getting to know him. And I mean, this guy is genuinely a great dude, man. Like he never puts himself above anybody, and you just hate for something like this to happen for him. But like I said, this guy is strong. He's strong-natured, and he'll be able to get through this, and I believe he'll be back. But for me, it just sucked just seeing him on the field like that, man. So for me, like Danny said, man, thoughts and prayers go out to him. But I know he'll be healthy and he'll come back and ball out.
I've been lucky enough to cover a lot of Cowboy teams. Jimmy's last team here that ended up winning the Super Bowl. Covered a lot of guys here. And watching Dak Prescott leave that football field with tears in his eyes and the way people rallied around him, and to see Jason Garrett on the other side with the Giants, to see his concern. I won't lie to you, I was sitting there and my eyes watered up because it stinks that something like that happened to someone who's such a good person, to someone who does everything right, to someone who, in my opinion, has made Dallas-Fort Worth sports a better place. He went into a situation that was very hard where he replaced Tony Romo, a very loved football player, a guy who was popular and never did anything, never misstepped. He never said anything negative, anything bad. I mean, he just operates the right kind of way. And I just want to give you a quick, glimpse into my experiences with Dak. I'm not going to simply tell you, hey, Dak and I are buddies and friends. We are friendly. I said to him, my kid loves you. You are her. You're her favorite player, and she wants to meet you one day. And he says, let's make that happen. And he just looked at me again, okay, with sincerity. And I remember telling my kid, all right, Dak says that he'll meet you, and you can get a picture with Dak, but you gotta get your schoolwork done. So she was wanting to get her schoolwork done, and unfortunately, COVID came around, and we weren't able to do it. But that's that kind of guy. He wants to be the leader of the franchise, and he knows what goes along with it. He never gets tired of it. And you guys are players, and you guys now have kids, and that's the most important thing in your life. And when someone wants to willingly go out of their way to do something they'll have to do to try to make your kid smile, it just makes you think so much more of him. And Dak is that kind of guy. And I know several people who have those kind of stories about the kind of man he is. And that was why my eyes watered up, because I'm like, this is a good dude. Why does this have to happen? He just lost his brother this summer. He spoke openly about how he had reached a point of depression and went to seek help. And we all know about the story of him losing his mother to cancer. And you just say, man, how many hits does a good dude like this have to take? So that was why I had tears in my eyes, man, because it was just like, damn, not Dak.
Yeah, it was tough, man. And like you said, it just the people around that came to just in support of him. It just goes to show you how much he affected everyone, and like how positively he affected everyone. I mean, like you said, Coach Garrett coming from the other sidelines to come and show his support, his whole team gathering around him, as he was getting hoisted up into the cart. I mean, it just goes to show you the testament of the type of man he was, the type of character he has, and the leadership he has. And like I said, man, we all wishing him a speedy and healthy recovery. But man, yeah, this one hurt. This one hurt, man. This one definitely hurt.
And I want to come to the defense of all NFL football players who have played and will play and are playing currently. This is why, like unlike any other sport, unlike any other national league, where players always fight for, the ability to get guaranteed contracts, ability to make their money when they can. Because you listen to the fans and they all ask why, and they moan and complain when players try to get all their money, and then things like this happen. Not just Dak, it's Alex Smith. In the previous year, it's Ryan Shazier in a year. When things like this happen, like football players are asking for this for a specific reason. And anybody who looks at them and says they're being greedy or they shouldn't be doing this, or they should go out there and perform and blah 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 blah, take a look at this. And swallow that pill and realize that you were wrong and get on the side of the players, because the harsh reality of the NFL is things like this will happen. And even though it does, players still deserve to make their money, for what they did on the field and all they gave to the game. So stop hating on them, man. Let these guys make their money. Get on the side of the players.
I want to take what you said and add one more name to this. Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater was a Pro Bowl quarterback who had taken Minnesota to the playoffs, and in a practice, just a routine practice, Teddy goes down and Teddy tears up his leg. I mean, he tears it up. That guys were there crying, watching it. They all knew it was bad when it happened. Ended up happening before the season. And despite Teddy Bridgewater being the right kind of guy and loved throughout the Minnesota organization, you know what Minnesota did? They cut him. They cut him. Mm-hmm. No, he did not get paid, and then so Teddy Bridgewater had the long road to come back and was a backup player for several seasons. And yesterday, he led the Carolina Panthers to a victory, and he ended up getting himself a multi-year contract this offseason with Carolina after spending 2 years with the Saints. But I go back to that about how you better get what you can while you can, because there's no guarantee that you're going to be healthy, and even more so, there's no guarantee that your team will love you next year. And you're right, 100%.
And look, I'm going to throw another name in there. Tyrod Taylor. I mean, we don't know what's going on in that situation over in L.A. I mean, it was a little bit different because it was the negligence of the team, but still, I mean, can they get away without giving him his money guaranteed? I mean, the kid might not play the rest of the season. So, I mean, like you said, McCray, it's a fight, and now people should realize why players go tooth and nail and fight for the most guaranteed money they can get, because football's a violent sport, and you never know what's going to happen on each and every down. So, like McCray said, man, you got to get your money.
So, Ed Werder, ESPN guy I've known and respected a long, long time. Ed Werder had tweeted out talking about, hey, Dak Prescott was offered a contract, turned it down. We know a lot of the issue had come between the years. The Cowboys wanting a 5-year deal, Prescott wanting a 4-year deal. And there were other people in the media who jumped on that, hey, this was on Dak. Dak took a risk. This is what you do. How do you feel about that, gentlemen?
Woo! We're gonna dive into it, huh? All right.
That's right. Let's do it.
I guess we diving into it, man. Look, man. Emotionally, I feel like, yeah, man. He's fought tooth and nail. He's never missed a start. He's been the unquestioned leader of this team. So, they need to go ahead and break him off what he wants and give him his money. But then again, it harps back to the business side of things, and you got to take your emotions out of it. And if I'm the Cowboys, I'm like, look, they weren't willing to pay him when he was healthy and when he was, putting on work. Why would they go ahead and then pay him what he wants after this injury? I mean, I know it sounds harsh, but it's the reality. It's the reality of the business we're in. So for me, it's a tough one. It's a tough cookie. But I can see them, maybe franchising him one more time just to see where he's at, get a little bit more sample size, making sure he's come back healthy from this injury. But overall, I mean, it's a sticky situation. And at the end of the day, it is a business. So, I mean, it's tough. It's a tough one.
Yeah, and then I think the only thing wrong with what Ed Werder did was his timing. Other than that, I mean, what he said was true. And the truth is that Dak did gamble on himself. And sometimes it works out, and sometimes it doesn't. And we still don't know if it's not going to work out. He just suffered a gruesome injury. Things could still play out in his favor depending on how the season goes and how Jerry Jones and them looks at him. He could still possibly get his $40 million. We could go out there and look like straight garbage. Or the argument that me and Newy said, at the beginning of the show was, hey, depending on how Andy Dalton plays, maybe possibly they could go look for somebody else and say that anybody could, another person with high caliber could carry this team. So, he gambled on himself and it just didn't work out, because right before this we were saying he gambled on himself and it worked out. So, that's just part of the game. So in this business, I don't think it'll be any hard feelings between either one of them. We all hope that the Dallas Cowboys do what's right, but the gamble, in this sense, as far as the injury wise, it just didn't pay off like we hoped it would.
So let me just reset in case some Cowboy fans don't understand. Dak Prescott, being a fourth-round draft pick, had a 4-year contract. So last season was the fourth year of his deal, the final year, and they could not come to a contract. The Cowboys thought they had a deal done in September, but Dak's agent, Todd France, basically is like, nah. After he started the 3 games, we're not going to do that deal. They did not talk during the offseason. We thought there'd be more conversations. There were not conversations. Todd France, Dak's agent, had 3 players. Okay, 3 of his clients were all on franchise tags. Not one of the 3 clients ended up signing a long-term deal. So Dak Prescott came into this season on a 1-year deal for $31.4 million. He did not get his deal done. And I ended up texting with a prominent NFL agent, a guy who's had another high-profile client get franchise tagged, and this is what he wrote me. I'm going to read it. He says, that's why you get deals done, because you shouldn't be gambling with the player's health. And to me, as I saw Dak Prescott in tears going off that cart, I just said to myself, Todd France, did you do right by your client? You wanted a 4-year deal. They wanted a 5-year deal. That's what it really came down to, over years. Look, I think Dak is a tremendous football player, and I'm always going to be on the side of guys getting paid. But I've been in this thing long enough to know you do at some point in time need to take what you can get and take this bite, because he's a quarterback. He'll get another bite of that apple, but make sure you put some of these guaranteed dollars in his pocket. And yes, he's guaranteed $31 million. But if this contract was 5 years, 175, it would have been a hell of a lot more than what he's got. And now the Cowboys have the leverage. Okay, Dak had the leverage, and the way he was playing this year, he was going to have the leverage, but this injury now puts the leverage back into the Cowboys' hands during a pandemic. I'm not a fan of Todd France.
I got to say, man, the thought process in that to me is, it's tough, right? Because what happens is Dak is a guy who has been through some stuff. He was going to get drafted. He ended up slipping to the 4th round. Things worked out for him, and Tony Romo got hurt. Like, besides this one, things have been working out. So him gambling on himself and believing that he can get stuff done and get what he deserves was in his mind as well, as far as being like, hey, I'm going to go out here and I know that I'm good and I know we got weapons and I know that I'm going to have the best season that I can and get paid the highest. So it's difficult to be like, hey, I'm going to just take this, knowing that that in my mind, I'm a competitor, and I know I can go outperform that and get more money. So, it is on his agent a little bit, but I know Dak believed in himself just as much as his agent did, as far as going out there and playing on that 1 year deal just so he can get everything that he's worth. And a lot of times when people gamble on themselves, it works out. So he had a chance for it to work out. This is just one of those freak accidents that usually doesn't happen to a player in this type of situation, but it did just because it's the NFL. So he still had a chance to go out there and prove and get everything that he wanted. He still does. It just didn't work out this time. So it's tough, maybe he should have took the money, maybe he shouldn't have, but he wasn't banking on getting injured. He was banking on going out there and having a hell of a season like he was.
See, Danny, this is where I come back to as the agent and the representative. Okay, that's how I'm thinking of this. Is that I'm asking my client to take 2 years in it. Hey, man, I want you to gamble another year. Okay, we're gonna turn down this boatload of money again and go out here and play in a sport where dudes get hurt. I'm thinking more of the player in the long term, and I'm telling you, there's a whole lot of people who are wondering because Todd France changed his agency. Now you think about this, just ask yourself this. You have 3 clients who are franchise tag. All 3 clients do not get long-term deals, and you, the agent, now switch agencies? Could there have been some play there where he was trying to make sure that maybe some commissions and whatnot went a different way and he was going to make more money off of? I'm hearing that one client in Denver that he had who was under the franchise tag, that there were no meaningful conversations. And then, of course, we heard the report from Jane Slater of NFL Network that at the end, they tried to talk and then couldn't get anything done for Dak. I just have a problem that, where was the contact? You got 3 dudes and nobody gets done? I mean, what are you doing as an agent? I'm just trying to figure that out.
What happens if this works out, though? What happens if this works out?
Yeah, like what happens if it ended up being like a Kirk Cousins deal where he ended up getting franchised and then ended up hitting big? Then we'd be second guessing. We wouldn't be second guessing any of this. Yeah, he's a smart guy. I mean, and at the end of the day, Dax are just like the rest of his clients. They're grown men. If they wanted, to go ahead and take the deal, they can tell him, look, man, I don't care what you're saying, Todd France, go ahead and take this deal. So at the end of the day, it was Dak's gamble, and he did gamble. And like Danny said, it just, it didn't work out the way he wished it would work out this time. But he bet on himself, and that's the risk you take sometimes.
Okay, Church. Now I come back to this, and this is where I'm still having, I'm still trying to figure out, exactly what happened here. This is where COVID gets in the way, where you can't really get some meaningful conversations with people one-on-one. But just the fact that there was a conversation late. So they were talking as the deadline, it was approaching 3:00, but they ran out of time to get something done. Stevens acknowledged a little bit of that. So if you're trying to get something done here in the last moment, that tells me that there was a deal to be made and it didn't get done, that's where I go back to the agent of why weren't you talking to these guys July 1st? Where's your list? To me, if I'm an agent, where's the logs of, hey, I talked to Steve or talked to Jim, that you were trying to get something done for the client? I mean, if you're trying to sell your house and the realtor doesn't talk to you at all about what's going on and you don't have an understanding, hey, how are you going through this process? I mean, that's for me. That's when people represent me. I want to know, what were you doing? What kind of conversations? Because these are negotiations. They're back and forth types of things.
Do we know that happened?
Do we know what happened?
That there were no conversations?
They weren't any conversation because yes. I'm still of the belief that Dak wanted his 4-year deal.
Yes. The whole thing about the conversation, that has been reported several times. And the same thing about Todd France with one of his clients in Denver. Same thing where this is a guy who wasn't picking up the phone, engaging with people about trying to get something done with his guys here. So
no, I'm talking about Dak. Was Dak in contact with his own agent?
To my knowledge, yes. Yes, with the agent. But I'm talking about the agent with the club. That's what I'm talking about.
Gotcha.
Oh, so you're saying the agent wasn't reaching out to the club to get something done. He was just waiting on them to come and offer something.
Right. And it did that with at least 2 of the 3 guys that I know. At least 2 of the 3 guys.
Okay.
And that to me, I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah, if that's the case, if that's the case, then that's bad agents. That's bad agent work. If that's the case, where he's not, reaching out trying to get the best deal possible. I mean, if that's the case, then yeah. I mean, I'm pissed at the agent. I'm like, man, you don't have my best interest if you're not going out there fighting for me and you're just waiting on a call. So, I mean, if that's the case, then I definitely would agree with you that Todd France was, he didn't have Dak's best interest at heart.
I gotta play devil's advocate here, man, because even in that case, Dak is talking to his agent. Dak understands. I believe Dak is a smart guy. Dak has been around the organization. He has some idea of what's going on, and to some sense, like everybody else was saying, he probably felt played that they wouldn't give him what he wanted. And once they came back with the 5-year deal for the 5th time, he was like, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and do what I got to do. Blah blah blah. I'm just having a hard time finding it. I find it hard to believe that they ran out of time on the deal, making the deal that Dak wanted with 4 years. I feel like they were probably coming back with the same 5-year deal, and it was like, bro, y'all still come back with the same stuff. We don't want that. That's just what I believe.
Like I said, all I'm going by is the James Slater report that Steven and Dak, those two guys talked, and then they were trying to work something out at the end and ran out of time.
If it wasn't a 4-year deal, it don't matter.
Those particulars, I don't know. But this is why I hate the COVID thing of, we can't get near the players. So that opportunity to go in the locker room where, you have the side conversations with guys and you try to get, hey, off the record, tell me exactly, is this report right? What happened here? And even Steven, you can't get next to Steven to say, okay, hey, look, guide me so I have an understanding. I'm hearing this. I'm hearing that there was a conversation at the end here. Is that true? I'm hearing that there was zero contact in the month of July. Is this true? Those kind of things that you'd like to get done as a reporter that it's tough right now not to be able to kind of do the job you want. But for me, the fact that it's been reported that they were trying to get something done at the end tells me that there was some ground that was going to be met. And what have we seen with the Cowboys recently? Go back to Amari Cooper. Go back to Tank Lawrence. Go back to Zeke. Go back to Zach. They folded every time. So a part of me is thinking here, the Cowboys are about to fold and give them what they wanted, but they ran out of time. And that's why I go back to the agent and just say, hey, you got 3 dudes, and all 3 dudes don't get done. And I'm hearing from 2 different organizations through my sources that this guy, the agent, wasn't exactly on the phone engaging with dudes trying to get something done. And oh, by the way, he moves on to a new agency where apparently I guess it's going to be a lot more favorable terms for him to get deals done.
So, Newy, are you letting the Joneses off the hook here? Because literally, we've been talking about that getting paid for like 2 years. Like,
it's been a long time. It's been a long time.
No.
It sounds like you let him off the hook.
Understand this. My issue is, as I said, and I go back to what I said earlier, I'm watching the player leave the field, and I'm thinking that the agent didn't take care and make sure the client got the money. That's what I'm looking at. Now, as far as the Joneses go, we can have a whole nother conversation about that because I've said on the record before here, they should have got that deal done, that training camp of his that final year, that they should have, when they were asking for 30 or 31, should have gave it to him. Should have basically said, we're going to give you exactly what Goff and Wentz got. You can have what they have because we feel you are right there with those guys. So
this is why I don't want to hear nothing about July. This is why I don't want to hear nothing about no last minute. They called in July and ran out of time. I don't want to. They had plenty of time.
By the way, we're late for a break here. Let's get a break here. Let's get a break here. Also, more injuries for the Cowboys on a victory Monday that feels very hollow. This is the Players Lounge, brought to you by Hotels.com on DallasCowboys.com radio.
Hey there, Cowboys fans. With Tide Cleaners at-home pickup and delivery, cleaning your clothes has never been more convenient. Simply sign up at your local store, set out your dirty clothes, and one of our Tide Cleaners professionals will come directly to your home for a totally contactless experience. Your clean garments will be returned promptly the next scheduled delivery day, so skip the errand and enjoy life, not laundry. Visit TideCleaners.com or your local store to sign up for Tide Cleaners at-home pickup and delivery today.
I'm Jay Novacek, former tight end for the Dallas Cowboys. Back in the day, I was the guy who always got the tough yards, and that's why I run with John Deere today. In fact, I have a John Deere 3025E tractor that can handle any yard work I need to do, even the tough yards way out back. So if you have 1 acre or 1,000, John Deere has the equipment that's just right for you. Visit a John Deere dealer today and run with us. We are the official tractor provider of your Dallas Cowboys.
We're back with a tasty treat that's sweeping airwaves and taste buds. It's new Dr. Pepper and Cream Soda. Let's take a listen.
Dr. Pepper and cream soda's here. A new combo that's music to my ears, okay? Let's play. Cream soda and Dr. Pepper time. Pour it in a glass of ice.
Music to my ears and mouth. New Dr. Pepper and cream soda.
A delicious duet.
Essilor is a proud sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys, helping fans see more and do more with our best vision solutions. Our lens technologies reveal a world more beautiful than you can imagine. For a limited time, get the Essilor Next Gen offer. When you buy the latest generation of Transitions lenses with select Essilor lenses, you can choose a second pair of clear lenses for free with qualifying frame purchases. Restrictions apply. Find a participating eye care professional by visiting EssilorUSA.com. Essilor. See more, do more.
Back to the Players Lounge.
All right, the Cowboys are back at AT&T Stadium on Monday night to take on the Arizona Cardinals. A limited number of tickets starting at $89 are available now. Get yours today at DallasCowboys.com/tickets. Kyler Murray coming back to town here. He was a star at Allen High School, went on to win the Heisman Trophy at Oklahoma after he transferred from Texas A&M. We are in our SWBC Mortgage Virtual Home Studios. I'm Newy Scruggs, longtime Cowboys reporter. Former Cowboys players Danny McCray and Barry Church are alongside me. Dak Prescott going to miss the season after a right ankle compound fracture and dislocation. More Cowboys injuries. Defensive tackle starter Tristan Hill is suspected to have an ACL. And you start looking at the whole list of things here. You got Tyron Smith, left tackle, out for the year with a neck. Right tackle, L. Collins, out. Gerald McCoy, the other starting defensive tackle, he is out for the year. And they ended up cutting him. Linebacker Sean Lee's yet to play a snap this season. Linebacker Leighton Vander Esch played one game, got a broken collarbone. He's still yet to play. Starting center Joe Looney out with a sprained knee, so he's missing 3 weeks here. Fellas, have you ever seen this kind of rash of injuries with the Cowboys?
No, I mean, I haven't seen nowhere near this type of injury bug at a team like this. I mean, look, I know we give Coach McCarthy, we talk a lot on here about him, and rightfully so. But I mean, I know he didn't sign up for this. I mean, you losing both of your offensive tackles, you killed your quarterback number one. I mean, we have so many injuries on the defensive side of the ball, in the secondary as well. I mean, I've never seen a rash of injuries like this. I mean, good thing we're in the worst division in football right now, where maybe even a 7-9 team might make it out the NFC East, because this injury rash, I mean, it's something that I've never seen before.
Yes, same here, and I think we may have a few more than some teams around the league, but the league in general was facing a bunch of injuries. If you look at San Fran, they lost a bunch of guys. It's ACLs, it's Achilles, it's high ankle sprains, it's hamstrings, it's guys all around the league. And I think, honestly, I got to say that I think we've done a decent job, especially with our O-line, of handling these injuries and shuffling around and making some of these things work to where it's just not a glaring thing. But at some point, it's got to stop, or we're looking at really calling a bunch of guys off the streets to fill in some of these spots, man, because the ones that really hurt you are the season-ending ones, right? Because you can be on IR for 3 weeks and come back. But when you get those season-ending injuries like we have at left and right tackle and now at D tackle, those things are hard to come back from.
Okay, now I'm going to ask you the question that I asked on my Sunday night TV show last night. And we've already done this once, and I feel like we got to go ahead and do it again. Let's readdress the Cowboys record. Okay, so I went from 11-5 and checking my notes on the readjustment. I went down to 8-8. Church, you went down to 8-8. Danny Mac, you went down to 7-9. Let's readjust that one more time. Okay, I'll go first. I'm gonna take that 8-8 down to 6-10, maybe 5-11. I mean, look, you've just lost Tristan Hill. This defense was bad yesterday against the Giants, 37-34. So you don't have Tristan Hill? Gerald McCoy.
Hold on.
Don Terry Poe hasn't done a whole lot. Antoine Woods, I mean, he was a starter a little bit last year, but I'm sorry. You tell me how we're sitting around at 2 wins. Okay, you think about it. They've won 2 games. They've won 2 games, and you're like, wow, you were lucky to win those 2 games. So I'm sitting here at 6-10, 5-11. I'm sorry, you guys. What record you got here now, Church, on the readjustment?
On the readjust, man. I know I said 8-8, but look, man, I'm still feeling my optimistic, man. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna only knock them 1 game, man. I'm gonna say they go 7-9. Whew, man, I don't know. I'm gonna say they go 7-9, man. I say they go 7-9. I just, look, this past game, granted, it was against the New York Giants, and we all know how hapless they are, but I felt like this defense had a little bit something going. I mean, it wasn't great, but I felt like this defense started to roll just a little bit. We started to get something from D-Law and those boys. So for me, I'm going to only knock them 1 game. I feel like Andy Dalton might be able to come in here and do a little something. So, I'm going to have my reservations, but I'm going to go 7-9.
Yeah, listen, I'm not changing mine specifically because the defense was never, it was never relevant in my picks. And the reason, and even with Dak out, the reason I'm keeping it 7-9 is because one of the views that I got from the side watching it on TV was an aha moment of, if we run the ball, I think that we can actually win some games. I saw Kellen and Mike McCarthy over there slapping hands like, yeah, we figured it out. Like they cracked a secret code that we all knew. And I'm like, all right, listen. Moving forward, especially with Andy Dalton as our quarterback, if we focus our offense, I'm taking 19 out of the picture because I don't know what the heck is going on with him. If we focus our offense on 21, because now 4 is gone, so you got to take 4 and 19. Now focusing on 21, like we figured out, I think the second quarter of this game, we have a shot to win some games. And the only thing that changed for me is I said we were going to split with Philly. I still believe the same, so that's why I'm staying with 7-9.
Look, real quick. Let's get back. Let's rewind it a little bit. I heard you talk about 19. What's going on with 19? I mean, is he coming up on these injury reports? I mean, he only played like 60% of the snaps last week against New York. Like I'm at a loss right now. I'm at a loss. What's going on?
I gotta say, Newy was right because remember, Church, when we was asking who was gonna be the best receiver on the roster, and somebody was talking about CD Lamb, and I was like, yeah, right, it's got to be Coop. Goodness gracious, was I wrong? This offense
Nostradamus Newy. Look at this.
It focuses specifically, like CD Lamb is the guy. He runs the jet sweeps. I think Amari got 1, but other than that, he runs the screens, the jet sweeps. He runs all the seam routes. He does everything. He's the punt returner. This offense focuses around, now 21 and 88. And it's crazy. I never would have assumed that.
Yeah, you're right. I would have never assumed that and the guys out there making he's doing all the dirty work as well as making all the spectacular plays. I mean, this dude's blocking people on runs. He's going over the middle, taking shots. I don't say this a lot, but man, you was right. You was right, man.
Our third best receiver is making $100 million, baby. Right?
What do I sign up for that? What do I sign up for that gig? I mean,
goodness, this is a guy making spectacular plays. CD Lamb, the only person that's invisible out there. Dalton Schultz probably making more plays than Coop. What are we doing? Didn't they say he played like 65% of the snaps? He's not even on the field as the number 1 receiver. I don't get it.
You got Cedric Wilson throwing touchdowns and said made some nice plays today.
Noah Brown. I mean, what's going on?
Everybody but Coop. Everybody but Coop.
Hey, over there, Coop over there, like, yeah, I raked up pretty good.
Bro, the dude had 1 target in the first half. I believe. I'm sitting there watching the game. He on my fantasy team. I'm like, this is nuts. Everybody getting a shine except the dude that's making $100 million. It don't make no sense. Make it make sense, please. Make it make sense.
So that's why you tried to trade him to me, huh? Okay, all right.
Here's what does make sense. Is throughout this season, 5 games into it, there have been many times where we've questioned the usage of players that they've written big checks to. Some weeks we're worried about, they've forgotten about Ezekiel Elliott. Yesterday we were worried again about Amari Cooper. We've worried about where's Tank Lawrence. I'm still trying to find Tyrone Crawford. There's several guys on this team where you're like, you got to check, man. You gonna show up and do something? Jalen Smith. When you start thinking about this team, there's some dudes who got checks, and you're just like, wow, man. Where you at? And so yesterday for you guys, it was Coop who was getting that, like, hey, where are you at? Who's on the milk cart? I mean, we might as well pass the milk carton around each week and just put different photos on it because, missing man who's been given lots of money. It's happened, and I don't get it. I don't get it. And I was sitting here watching the game like you guys. So let's see what happens when you give 21 to football. Things can happen. The shocking thing for me in all of this, when I started, when I look at Ezekiel Elliott and how he's been used, is Kellen Moore was on the team. That's what I don't get. Like, you've seen what this guy can do. You've been a part of this team as a player and a coach. You know what 21 can do. Why aren't you utilizing him more? Which is one of my frustrations with Jason Garrett about the usage of 21, because Jason played with 22 Emmitt Smith. So you see what a dominant running back can be and do, and how much easier it makes life for your football team. People aren't talking about this, but the Cowboys lost the time of possession again. And when they went on those long drives, what did they do? They kept the defense off the field. If you want to help this defense, keep them off the field. They're not good enough to be on the field for 30-plus minutes. And what did we see yesterday? They're on the field a long time, and here's another football team that's out there, giving them the business. Luckily, the Giants are a bad team that makes mistakes. They had touchdowns coming off the board, and so the Cowboys were helped. I mean, that special teams, my gosh, what in the world were they doing? Let's take a break. I want to get into the special teams. And if you want to be mad at Amari Cooper, can we be mad at John Fossil? Let's do that next. Players Lounge brought to you by Hotels.com right here on DallasCowboys.com radio.
Since 1865, Stetson hats are American-made with pride right here in Texas. And Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Want to show your Texas and team pride too? You can. By purchasing your own Stetson, you can look just like how the flag guys do on field at every home game. Stetson hats, the official crown of all self-respecting Cowboys and your favorite football team.
Get yours today at shop.dallascowboys.com or at stetson.com.
Your new apartment's big. Such a great deal.
It's okay.
Just okay? What's not to...
Right above the subway!
Well, I bet you don't even notice it after the...
That's my neighbor, Angus.
A deal that's just okay is not okay. Get a great deal with America's Best Network. Come into an AT&T store to find out how to get one of our popular smartphones for $0 down. Based on GWS 1 score, September 2019.
To Dallas's frontline responders, thank you. To show its gratitude, Tide is offering free laundry services in Dallas to the families of frontline responders. Simply bring your laundry and your identification to Tide Cleaners, and they will wash it within 2 days. One thing less for you to worry about. While you take care of us all, Tide will take care of the laundry for the families of frontline responders. To learn more and find a location near you, visit hope.tidecleaners.com.
Essilor is a proud sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys, helping fans see more and do more with our best vision solutions. Our lens technologies reveal a world more beautiful than you can imagine. For a limited time, get the Essilor Next Gen offer. When you buy the latest generation of Transitions lenses with select Essilor lenses, you can choose a second pair of clear lenses for free with qualifying frame purchases. Restrictions apply. Find a participating eye care professional by visiting EssilorUSA.com. Essilor. See more, do more.
Back to the Players Lounge.
Hey, know before you go. Coming to a Cowboys game this year, make sure you know before you go. You got to wear a mask. Keep social distance here. Be prepared for cashless transactions, and please be aware of all safe stadium policies prior to arriving at AT&T Stadium. Visit DallasCowboys.com/SafeStadium for details. You are in the Players Lounge on a Victory Monday that feels very hollow because Cowboys starting quarterback Dak Prescott is going to miss the rest of the season. Andy Dalton takes over, a great signing by the team, I thought. In the offseason, he now has the ability to really make some incentives here because a part of his contract was playing 50% of the snaps. If Andy stays healthy, he will get doggone 65, 70% of the snaps the rest of the season. So I've been a fan of Andy, covered him when he was a quarterback at TCU. Let's go back into that win yesterday. And fellas, Barry Church, Danny McCray, you guys made your bones with the Cowboys is making the team through special teams. John Fossil was supposed to come here and be an upgrade over Keith O'Quinn. The Giants had a touchdown call back on special teams because of former Cowboy Cam Irving. I thought a little ticky-tacky, but luckily for the Cowboys, it didn't work. Another time, the Cowboys have the Giants lined up for a punt, but then they've got 12 men on the field, so now the punt becomes a field goal, which they convert. And I'm just sitting there myself saying, I thought John Fossil was supposed to make it better. I don't feel like John Fossil's living up to all this hype that we gave him. McCray?
If you're being honest with yourself and all the Cowboys fans and even the organization, we look worse on special teams than we did last year. You think about it this way: we lose that game because of special teams. If that ticky-tack, illegal shift, they snap the ball too early, doesn't happen. And this has been a common theme for the entire season. You can always depend on special teams to come out there and make a name for themselves in a bad way throughout the first quarter of the season, and now moving into the second quarter of the season. And it's unfortunate because we feeling good, and this is one of those hollow Mondays because of Dak, but this should really be a hollow Monday as well because we're all feeling all happy because we went out there and beat the winless Giants and got lucky. So I'm not really understanding. And Newy, you were unfair to the defense. They only gave up 27 because we threw a pick six. So we're gonna say something good about them. They only gave up 27 this week.
That's true.
So stay on that for a second.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Which phase of the game is worse than last year? The defense or the special teams?
Can they both be?
Ooh,
because they are.
They both are. What in the hell is going on over there with the special teams? I mean, like you said, we were supposed to have one of the best cats in the game coming down here and supposed to get our unit right. And right now, I don't see a difference between him or Keith O'Quinn. I mean, we got to have the worst kickoff return unit in the NFL right now. I mean, the average start is I feel like every time he returns the ball, I'm talking about Tony Pollard, I feel like we only get to the 15-yard line. And it's like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if guys don't understand the blocking schemes he's putting in there or what, but I mean, I don't see any difference between what they did last year and what they're doing this year. And then just the mistakes just keep on piling up. I mean, if on that fake field goal, how do you not notice a guy over there just chilling? I mean, you're supposed to be looking over there. That's your job. And if there's only 10 cats in the middle of the field for this kickoff, one of those edges is going to be soft. So you should notice that. Like, hold on, there's not a wing over here protecting this. Let me look over there. Oh, Ingram's wide open over there. Like, it's just little things like that it has to go back to coaching. I mean, it's not like we're questioning, these guys want to or anything like that. They're just doing dumb mistakes. So I gotta say it's on coaching. And right now, like I said before, I don't see the difference between Fossil and Keith O'Quinn. It's perplexing to me right now.
You do, Church. You do. It's worse. Listen, we got on KO. I think it was a block punt, and honestly, those type of things happen, throughout the season. Sometimes, like punts get blocked. I've given up a block punt, and it wasn't coaching. I went out there as a player, and I messed up. All right, but we got on them for Tavon Austin doing a fair catch at the wrong time. They didn't give up a touchdown. All right, they weren't out there, messing up the way that this team is messing up this year. I'm talking about we are out there almost losing games, giving up touchdowns, giving up those type of big plays. All right, I would take what Keith O'Quinn was doing with the player error on the block punt and a fair catch and still giving us a chance to go out down there and score versus giving up touchdowns, giving our defense the ball on the 1 yard line on kickoff return, having one of the worst starting field positions in the league. I would take that. I would take the trade-off.
So as I listen to you two just talk about special teams and defense, just right now in this segment, you guys both think that the Cowboys have 5 more wins in them this year. They got 11 games left, so you basically think win half their games with this Rudy Poo special teams and a defense these players don't believe in right now. You think they're going to win basically half of their games?
Let's see it real quick.
Go through the schedule.
When you've got a Baltimore coming here, you got Pittsburgh. I mean, you got to go to Baltimore. You got Pittsburgh who's coming here. you got to play a Cincinnati team that I don't know if you guys know or not, but that Joe Burrow kid's got some guts, and he's played very well, and they haven't protected him, but that team gives you all they have. They should have beat Cleveland. They should have beat Cleveland. Didn't happen.
Hold on.
But look. You got Philadelphia twice. Oh, okay. What?
You still got. Go ahead. All right, go ahead. Look, like you said, you still got Philadelphia twice. You still got New York one more time, and you got Washington twice. That could be an easily 5 wins. You take the NFC East, and you're going in there 7-9. My prediction. That's all that's going to happen.
And I'm still counting Cincinnati as a dub. Listen, Baltimore was a loss already. Pittsburgh was a loss. The teams that you named, I already had them losing against. so that didn't change for me. I still think we'll go out there and beat Cincinnati. Listen, only if for the rest of the season Kellen Moore decides that we are going to focus our offense on running the ball, because I think that when we do that, we have an advantage over all those teams that I have us counting winning against to make us go 7-9. Now the other teams, we got an issue.
You put a qualifier there. You said if.
But I saw it. Newy.
But can we count on if with Kellen Moore? I'm not ready.
We can't. I don't think so. I'm not ready to say he's just willing to run the ball.
You think it was a game? I'm telling you. Listen, CB, I'm going to ask CB to find a clip of what happened once we scored with Zeke running the ball. I think it was a 10-yard score. The look in McCarthy and Kellen Moore's eyes, it was a true aha moment. I text y'all and I said, I think Jerry called down there and said, let me tell y'all something. If we don't start giving 21 the ball, it's going to be some smoke in the city. And then we saw it. Because you think about it. Newy said we lost the time of possession. I'm taking it all because of the first half. Because the first drive, he came out and did the same thing. Zeke was not a feature part of the thing. And I think he didn't become a feature part of it until the second half. We slept through the first half without giving Zeke the ball. And I think now that second half gave us a good picture for what we're going to see for the rest of the season, especially Andy Dalton as quarterback.
Okay, we clearly we've got a lot to chop up and keep going the rest of this week. So we've got content, we got topics and content galore to keep you going the rest of the week. And before we get out of here, shout out to Mickey Spagnola and his Fighting Missouri Tigers for getting themselves a win. Poor Mickey never gets to celebrate on these podcasts because his football team has issues, but the SEC win for Mickey's boys. So good on Mickey. Good on him.
Slugs are being fired late.
He'll never see another win like that again. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes it happens when you put so many guys in the league and you lose. Edwards-Helaire, Joe Burrow, and Justin Jefferson, all these guys who are stars in the league right now based on the first quarter. So sometimes that stuff happens.
Don't forget about Patrick Queen. Patrick Queen had a pick yesterday. Don't forget about him.
It's so many. It's so many. I can't name them all. In the time that we have left, but we lost a lot, and we'll be back. I'm not worried. I get to celebrate the national championship for a year.
Look, and since we're doing shout outs, man, shout out to my boy White Lightning, aka Jeff Heath, man. If y'all ain't see it yesterday, y'all missed out. My boy came from the rafters looking like Sting from WWW, whatever the wrestling thing was. He picked it up, took it almost to the house. Man, shout out to my boy Jeff Heath, man. He didn't get enough love here, but he's doing his work in Las Vegas right now.
That was WCW, by the way, and he hustled all 70 snaps that he was on the field. All the snaps he was on the field, he hustled 100%.
Jeff Heath with the Vegas Raiders, and a whole lot of Cowboys fans owe him an apology. They ran that man down while he was wearing the silver and blue. Hey, that's today's show. We appreciate you tuning into the Players Lounge, brought to you by Hotels.com. That's Danny McCray, Barry Church, former Cowboys players. I'm Newy Scruggs, longtime Cowboys reporter. As always, we thank our guy Chris Beam, who produces this show, and it rarely gets a bathroom break when he does it, but we appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow at 2:30 Central Time right here on DallasCowboys.com radio.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this?